Good morning, Britain. Overnight, world leaders have rallied behind King Charles after the shock of his cancer diagnosis. It's the King.
Yeah.
How many people are diagnosed with cancer?
Yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully will offer some companionship, at least, to anyone else into an enlarged prostate. Would they pick up on other conditions like cancer? The now King was
the offer of all kinds.
Everyone is asking.
Share that you have cancer.
I've had about...
People will say, well, you know, the media doesn't like a vacuum.
No.
And people, you know, he is the King.
Yeah.
So he will want to know how bad it is.
Yeah.
What
and
kind. We are not entitled to know.
Exactly.
But I think people will be curious.
And the thing is now, people will Google all the different...
And two of us will either get cancer or have some respect to the King at all. For prostate enlargement, and during that treatment done, which revealed that he has a separate, because we know speculating what other kind of cancer it could be. What sort of test have they officially said that?
Pretty much, yeah.
What somebody who's, you know, in a different situation might face when they are at the end of the year, and we have a case. This kind of steadiness is looking quite disrupted this year, isn't it? Was it a mistake, do you think anyone's discussing this behind the scenes, that if the King was going on the royal family, whereas we've just heard from Professor Kirby, if you are more likely to affect you, and when illness affects you, you need other people to work at that age?
Of course, yeah, most people are...
So let's start with Jonathan Swain, who's at Buckingham. Well, as a consequence, Prince William is expected to return to royal duties this week with an investiture at Windsor tomorrow and picking up a little bit more work, perhaps. Our correspondent Nithya Rajan.
Charles's cancer diagnosis broke a couple of minutes before 6 last night and made almost instant headlines around the world. Here's how the news was broken in the United States. Our own Dr. Amir is with us now.
A little bit later in the programme, we're going to speak to a former communications secretary to the King when he was Prince of Wales, of course. And she's going to tell us about how, when she was diagnosed with cancer, how supportive.
Tons of help, didn't he?
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to talk to her also about the communications strategy that the palace is following. We're also going to be talking to the president of the Royal Society of Medicine about the King's diagnosis, and Andrew and Kevin will be here, of course, as well. What
is so interesting for our generation is that the openness is extraordinary. When you think back to his grandfather, the sixth, absolute silence about his cancer, and until even after he died, it wasn't really revealed, and we didn't know really much at all about our own Queen's decline until virtually the day that she died. You know, this openness is very new.
It is very new. So we'll discuss that this morning. Let us know what you think, and of course we send our huge best wishes to the King this morning. First, here's Mark Vreen with